Everyone, it's your boy Matt. It's Thursday, the 4th of September 2025. This is going to be a bit of a rant. We're coming to you from the National 7-Eleven, one of our most prestigious of national monuments, and it's the place where you can get the best budget brown water brew that you can get in Canberra. Anyway, so, big lesson that I've learned in the past couple of years. People, they're kind of shit in general, universally. Or at least they all have the capacity to be shit. Like, the big nation building experiments of the 20th century. The Soviet Union, countries like North Korea. North Korea is probably a better example because it's current. People will find a way to bring things into a hierarchy, and it often involves relationships. So North Korea is a good example because their proximity to Kim Jong-un, or Kim Jong-il, whoever the state leader is what defines their worth. And it's all based on loyalty to him, and it's based on relation to him, actually. So they'll make these big displays of crying and yelling, and when he dies, they'll be fanatic when he's around. It's all these displays of devotion to their leader. Now, that's how they've been able to stratify their hierarchy, is based on loyalty, and the way that they define membership in their society is based on the level of perceived loyalty. So the higher class of people in North Korea, I can't remember the exact name for them, but I remember their name, or at least a nickname for that class of people, being something like, these are the pure believers or something. And people who had at one point an ancestor who defied the glorious leader, well, they are permanently now a class down, and their family is now tainted, and they're perceived as less, and that's why they're in a lower class. I think that's an excellent example of something I've experienced, which is this kind of relational thing where, like, you might have a paternalistic relationship with someone, or you define them as a child to you, or like a child to you, and now there's a pecking order where you're above them, they're below you, your care is justified, and so is your belittling and your mistreatment of them or something, because you are the authority and they are below you. I'm going to show you something. This is my hair. It's receding. Right? It's receding before its time. I'm 30 years old, and the amount of stress I've been under the past couple of years has meant it's all fucking dropped off. And this really has to do, first of all, with the situation I'm in, because my workers' comp claim was denied by my employer because they were just in denial about the entire business they were running. Because if they were to be honest with themselves about what they were doing, well, they would feel fucking terrible. And their base for being able to continue to abuse their employees and run their Uber health model, and really commit the exploitation of the vulnerable people that they were doing, it wouldn't be justified anymore, and they'd have to stop doing it, and they'd have to stop getting their money from it. That money was a powerful incentive for them to not look at their own behavior and criticize it. And similarly, and because of that, when I hit rock bottom, right, and was genuinely mentally ill, I could not function for around 2 months before I lost my job, and at least the next 6 months afterwards, and then had to deal with all the follow-on catastrophes as a result of not getting the workers' comp and the assistance to return to work, because it's always a temporary thing. It's not usually a lump sum payment. I had to deal with a series of terrible indignities and people who would come around me and use this opportunity to elevate themselves, and often that was done in this relational way. where they would take the role on as something, as perceiving themselves as a carer or something similar. So this would make them feel, higher up, good about themselves, feel like they're providing a civic service and being a good family member or something approaching that. Now, I have a friend who's an elderly woman called Elisabeth, and she is a friend. These are complex relationships, but also as a person who is a public figure and a vulnerable person, and increasingly becoming less vulnerable, this person unfortunately deliberately took this as an opportunity to elevate herself. So for around 6 months after I lost my job, I just couldn't function. Like, I am an excellent cook. I used to work in kitchens. I can cook up all kinds of amazing dishes. I treat it as an art form. So I can even do some French cooking. I really know what I'm doing in the kitchen. But for around 6 months afterwards, I just couldn't function. And what I was doing is I was literally scabbing the rice from the rice cooker that my housemate was making. I was constantly drunk, and it made sense, man, because it was also the stress and trauma of what was going on. And I just couldn't fulfill basic tasks. And because everyone's looking at an opportunity to elevate themselves and perceive me as more and more pathetic and worthless, this woman was like, "Oh, look at him, he doesn't have any of these skills, he's a child," or something. It's like, no, I've got all the skills. This is what mental illness looks like based on trauma and the consistent abuse that I'm having to deal with. The other thing was this car. That was another big issue for her. I bought this car off this blind man. The car had previously been owned by a mechanic. The mechanic had basically ripped him off. I believe there was an electrical fault in the car, and electrical faults are particularly difficult to fix. I have a suspicion it was related to the light switch for the lights. But to go through the process of fixing that, it would require at least $300 to $400 if I do it myself, or significantly more if I paid someone else to do it. I then need to pay for the registration to get it back on the road, and it was like something like at least $1,000 to get that job done. I did not have the ability to get a spare $1,000. I haven't been able to work. I have constantly been abused. But to her, it's like, oh, look at him. He's got this car and he's given it away to this person. Because I ended up giving it away because I needed to get the fuck away from this woman. And when I was kicked out eventually, this is how I was able to remove the car from the property and have someone who I can call when I'm in an emergency, because this person now owes me a favor who I gave it to. And on top of that, I needed someone outside of the network of my family, because my family was in connection to Elisabeth, and they are people who I am escaping the network of. I am escaping abuse. I have been made a vulnerable person and am been in a family of people who have terribly abused me, okay? Like, you do not want to have been made into this. And Amanda Mazzoni, I'm sorry, woman, you did this to me. And as a side note, my work involves building relationships with terrible people, often people who are constantly committing violence or doing all kinds of obnoxious things, and looking at the best in them and using this to bring people up. So I'm constantly I'm used to working with horrific individuals, and I have continued to work with Brenda and people in her network who have done horrific things, and will continue to do so. But let's be clear, you did a horrific thing to me, Amanda Mazzoni. A really terrible thing, and the failure of you to recognize your behavior and sign off on that workers' comp claim, which you had paid, which was very genuinely well deserved, is something that you're going to have to live with. You did bad, very bad, and remember that. Now, returning to the rant, I had to get rid of this car, and now this car is an opportunity for this woman to again belittle me, and it's like, look, he can't fix the car, or look, he's he gave it away. He doesn't understand money or something. It's like, no, woman, like, I know what I'm doing, right? I'm dealing with some very complex situations. But worst of all about living there was that I had been made a very public figure, and I'd have these people coming into the house who knew of me, and this was the most horrifying thing, because I'm famous and been famous for a while. People would come into this house seeking out these relationships and forcing these close relationships on me. Like, I had this sad guy, this very sad man who claimed to be going through a divorce. He knew of me, he came into the house, he tried to make me his son, and that was terrible because I had to play along with it for safety reasons and to get along with the family. It's like a rape. It is like a rape. And coming in, and of course, the process of me having to remove myself from that relationship also gets Elisabeth to be like, hey, this guy feels sad now that he's here. Like, what did you do to him? It's like, oh my fucking God. Because people know where I live, and I haven't been able to lift myself out of poverty. I haven't been able to use my fame. So my fame I have ends up being this thing, which is this abuse of me because of Theo Aliku, you sack of shit, right? Who stole all my money. So because I can't, being famous and not being able to is actually a terrible thing if you don't have the money from it. Because what ends up happening is that people come out to you seeking things from you, or taking things from you, as they've done here with these relationships, and forcing these relationships on you, and you can't escape it. It's like people forcing them to be your boyfriend or girlfriend or father figure. I had a guy try and force himself to be my boyfriend as well, and I had to get rid of him, right? I wasn't interested. And he was this other creep who came into the house who knew of me beforehand, right? This has been fucking horrifying. And of course, this woman is all, oh look, I've got this miserable alcoholic in my home. Oh, how terrible my life is. It's like, how the fuck do you think I'm going to get back on my feet when I've had to deal with these problems, hey? Now, that's the rant for today. Wanted to put this out there. Again, I'm not used to having good relationships or healthy relationships, so these very defective ones are what I'll use and enjoy when possible. And Elisabeth, I wish you well. We've had many great conversations and we are friends, but you did use this as an opportunity to elevate yourself, and you haven't been honest with other people or yourself. And that's my video for today. Have a lovely day, everyone.